So here we have flower smocking. This is the pattern for flower smocking. I made my squares or my grid 1 inch by 1 inch just to make it easy on myself. And you want to poke holes in the corner to make sure that your pen or pencil can fit through. And the larger you make the squares, the more material that you're going to use. So you want to bear that in mind when you're actually making a smocked piece. So this sample card here is a flower smocking, but done at a 1/2 inch grid. So all the squares were 1/2 inch apart. All right, after you've made your grid, you want to mark your material. And with the flower smocking, you're actually doing your stitches in the front. And what you're doing is what's called picking up dots. So you can number them if you want, but basically we're just going to go around in a square, and you want to go in on one side of the dot and out on the other. So you're leaving about 1/8 of an inch of the material in between the stitch. And then for this sample, I went ahead and used nylon thread, which is not always the easiest. It's best, if you're going to use leather, which I did not use leather here, but if you're using leather, you definitely want to use the nylon thread. But this right here is just a very thin woven cotton, and the thread's kind of strong for it. So you just want to pull, and you're pulling that square tight, and then you're going to knot it off because you don't want it to come undone. And this is a little bit tricky with the materials I chose to use. So you will, just so you know, you will see the thread on the front side. When I turn it back over, you will see the thread on the front side a little bit. So if you don't want to see the thread, it's best to get, a thread that matches the material that you're smocking. And then we're just going to move up to the next 4 squares. So for the flower, it takes 4 squares, and you just start in the bottom corner. We're starting from the bottom and working up. I don't have an answer why you do that. You can start at the top and work down if you want, or from side to side. But if you notice, I did not cut the string or the thread after I was done knotting off that first flower. But what you do want to do is make sure that thread stays slack. So it's easiest if you just knot it right before you start doing your next square. So you knot it at the end of the square, and then knot it again when you start at the beginning of the next square. And you're just going to keep going around until you get it. So once you've finished your project, I just did a small little grid here, just a small corner on this napkin. Once you finish your project, you're going to knot off all your threads, and then you can go through. What happens is if you're just going and going and going and not opening up the petals every time, it's going to look like you have a bunch of squares. But all you have to do is kind of stick your finger in between the squares and the petals will pop up. And then you'll get that nice little cute little flower pattern for the smocking. And there you go. That's smocking. Flower smocking, that is. All right. See you soon.